Must the entire Quran be completed in Tarawih? Must the entire Quran be completed in Tarawih?
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
So it would seem quite logical, isn't it? We have about 30 nights of Tarawih and we have 30 ajza of the Quran. So logic would have it that we complete one juz, or complete the recitation of the Quran in the month of Ramadan. It's the month in which the Quran was revealed, and it's a common practice. So the immediate answer is no, it is not a must. It is not obligatory to complete the entire Quran during Salatul Tarawih. We should strive, in my humble opinion, this is my humble opinion, we should strive to do as much as we can, right? And that means different things for different people. So if we can all manage to strive to complete the Quran, that's wonderful, but not everyone will be able to do so. And whatever little they can manage to do, we should encourage them in doing so, and Allah knows best. Is there precedent for striving to complete the Quran in the month of Ramadan? Yes, there is precedent for that. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أجود الناس وأجود ما يكون في رمضان حين يلقاه جبريل فيلقاه في كل ليلة من رمضان فيدارسه القرآن. The hadith of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in which he explains that the Prophet ﷺ was the most generous of people, and the most generous that they found him to be was during the month of Ramadan. So his generosity, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, basically reached its pinnacle for the year in the month of Ramadan. Which is also something interesting, because he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, was not the wealthiest of people in terms of material wealth, right? Yet he was the most generous, subhanallah. Which goes to show that generosity is not only about material wealth. But the point here being, he would become so generous because he would meet up with Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, and this would happen every night in the month of Ramadan. And what would they be doing? They would be studying the Quran. And the scholars of Ulumul Quran, they explain that this essentially means that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was reciting to Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, and Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam was reciting to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they would complete whatever was revealed of the Quran up until that point, right? And they would do this every year, except in the last year of his life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wherein they would revise the Quran twice. So the complete revision of the Quran twice. And of course, recitation for these noble beings, alayhimus salatu wassalam, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam, it was more than recitation. It was an experience that we can only dream of and imagine until we get to Jannah, when we can also experience it, insha'Allah ta'ala. So the interaction was that of the complete Quran. So there's precedent for it, right? We can strive for it, insha'Allah. It would be a good accomplishment for a community, for a masjid, for a family, to accomplish this. And in our individual capacities, it would be excellent to strive to do as much of the Quran as possible. So yes, we should aim for some quantity, and we should also aim for some quality, right? That the sole purpose of the Quran was not recitation. In fact, the primary purpose of the Quran was guidance, right? And as a book of guidance, it is essential for us, to reflect on the Quran. And this should be a goal of ours as well. So if completing the entire Quran is going to mean that all of your attention, every single moment of free time that you have, has to go into your recitation, because that's the only way that you can complete the recitation of the Quran, then I would consider that you divide some of your time into tafakkur and tadabbur, which is reflecting on the meanings of the Quran, and some for the recitation of the Quran, so as to absorb a balance. And it doesn't have to be a 50-50 split. It could be a 90-10 split, right? It depends on what your heart feels at the time, but we should all strive for that, and Allah knows best.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.